Great. We get a second straight home game here, which we've had a bunch of road games. Seems like this year, so it's nice to be home back-to-back weeks. So coming off last week's game, big challenge for us, playing another explosive offense. A team that's got a lot of playmakers all over the field. They got a couple of really good running backs that are productive runners between the tackles, get tough yardage, and then you watch them. They both have home run hitting ability. They got a great combination of receivers of size and speed on the outside. Great slot receiver, playmaker. They put the ball in his hands, can make anything happen, and then a quarterback that can really improvise. Can beat you quick release, beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs, beat you with his scrambling ability. Just makes play after play after play happen. So great challenge for us there. And on the defense side of the ball, they got just dynamic pass rushers and defensive linemen up front. I think they lead the nation in tackles for loss. And so when you look at that combination, not to say the linebacker secondary, but the guys that can just cause havoc up front with a bunch of potential NFL players and possibly first rounders or first picks in the draft. So you can see why they're one of the top teams in America, and it should be a great challenge for our guys. We're going to have to come out and play a great game from opening kick to the end.
Defense the other day and the issues in tackling. When you go back and watch the film, are there a lot of things that you feel like are correctable, or are there more glaring issues?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tackling. It's guys running the football. It's guys making sure we're in the right position to go make plays. Like I said, and you saw on film, we made a bunch of plays on defense. We missed a bunch of plays. I think we gave up over 300 yards after the catch. We just can't do those things, and I think we had over 20 plus missed tackles in the game. You just can't do that. You know what I mean? That's just guys, trusting their base fundamentals and executing.
Coach, when it comes to defensive side of the football, are your role more involved in game planning or on game day? Is there what kind of?
Yeah, I'm involved in the game plan. I'm on the phone with them while we're on defense. I'm constantly trying to go back and forth with everybody, get the next offensive series ready, be on the phone with the defensive guys, and then vice versa. But I'm involved in every phase of the program, as I've been since day one here.
When you go into a game against a team like Texas A&M that can score a lot of points, do you go into a game thinking, all right, we're going to have to outscore this team, or this is going to be a defensive battle, or do you not worry about that?
I think sometimes you don't really know how it's going to play out, how the course of the game is going to play out. Obviously, when you're playing a team as explosive as Texas A&M, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, we're going to have to score some points because, they score. And they put points on the board. They put points on the board on everybody. So you're going to have to score some points to put yourself in the game. But a lot of times we'll look at things, different game planning throughout the years of saying, hey, this is the type of style of game we want to play against these guys. Whether it's, hey, we want to slow the game way down. Hey, we got to try to score a lot of points. We'll look at that from week to week and have a team philosophy going into it.
It appeared that the offense was clicking at its best last week. What can you take from last week, the positives that can be translated to the rest of the season?
Well, I think our guys look at when we executed, we really clicked. I think there's some still guys make mistakes out there on the field, and I think guys really see that. And it's the mental toughness of making sure that we're executing every single snap. There's that mental toughness aspect of the game. Guys, you just go out there and play, it's not going to work for you. You have got to be mentally tough and disciplined every single snap of the football game. But when we did that, we were able to make some plays. I think, taking some shots down the field certainly helped us open some things up. I thought we did a decent job at times converting on third down throughout the course of the game, and that helps you get into a better rhythm on offense.
Do you anticipate AJ or Kevon or Brandon or any of the guys that missed last week be back this week?
Yeah, I expect everybody back.
Fitzgerald was such a huge part of the Samford win on offense. Do you think a winning formula going forward, or would you like to diversify things a little bit against top 10 teams?
Well, I mean, no, because if your quarterback's playing really well, you got a chance to win. You go watch football on Friday night, Saturday, or Sunday, and that's going to be the exact same deal. If your quarterback plays well, you got a chance to win. So I certainly want to. Hopefully, our quarterback continues to play well against everybody.
You mentioned Texas A&M's pass rush. Myles Garrett, probably one of the best in the nation. What makes him so good, and how do y'all go about, I guess, trying to neutralize him?
Well, I mean, you look at his explosiveness. He's so explosive off the ball. He has great length. And can get in the backfield in such a hurry, gets you just right out of rhythm in your pass game. And anytime you create tackles for loss, you're out of rhythm on offense. So you end up in second and long situation. You don't when you're putting your game plan together, you have some calls, but you'd much rather stay out of second and long situations. On third down, you're trying to convert, and now when they know they get you in second and long situations, they know you have to throw the ball to make you one-dimensional, and you have dynamic pass rushers. It makes life pretty easy for them.
You faced Kevin Sumlin a number of times over the years at Houston and at Texas A&M. What kind of characterizes his offense? I mean, it seems like they've always got a pretty good offense.
Well, I think he's a really good offensive coach. And what they do a nice job of trying to be innovative, spread the field, utilize players a lot the same way we do. Not afraid to think outside the box, and not afraid to tweak and change around the players that he's had. And I just think that's a sign of a good coach. You have a system, but your system's going to be able to adapt to the personnel that you have from year to year, and he's always been able to do that.
Coach, another week where Keith and Malik were pretty much a big factor in the running game. Just talk about the progress of Deere and Keith and what they bring with that different aspect.
Well, like anything, they're guys we want to try to get the ball in their hands. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that, whether it's in the run game, in the throw game. You just want to make sure they get their hands on the ball. And so we go into a game plan. We have a bunch of different ways to get them the ball, and we want to continue to do that. Moving forward, hopefully, whether it's screens, passing game, running game, every different way possible. Guys that put the ball in the hands of guys that can score. No, he's pretty good either way. The thing about them too, they're different players. Malik probably brings a little bit more thump, and Keith brings a little bit more quickness, but they're both. Malik then, on the other side's probably quicker and faster than people would think he is, and Keith's probably more physical than people think he is. So they both, both good football players for us.
I know in the past you've talked about taking what the defense is giving you, but how do you balance that with trying to impose what you want to do on a defense as well?
Well, I think it gets into the management of the game, especially by the quarterback. And by the coaching staff of making sure we're putting them, making good calls, putting them in a position to be successful. And just really a lot of experience at the quarterback position of how to manage the game, when to take a shot, when to not take a shot, when to check the ball down, when to hand it off, when to throw and run options, when to keep it. All of those different things of, that game management that's critical. Well, I just think, maybe Dak last year, not 3 years ago. You know what I mean? It's probably easier with a Tom Brady, or a Peyton Manning, or, a Drew Brees, or guys that have done it for 15, 16 years. Because, they've just had so many reps at things over and over and over again. That, when they're educated decisions, that they're educated chances they're taking, or risks, or, which really, the key question of asking quarterback, why? Yes, quarterback, why? Why are you doing this? Well, not what should I do? Why are you doing it? Because you're the one making the decisions out there on the field. And the more experience they have, the more comfortable they are with that why. And it doesn't mean they're always going to make the right decision, or at times, but as long as there's a good why, the reasoning why they're doing what they're doing, they have a chance.
I know you've talked a lot about with a young and inexperienced team in particular, sort of trying to find that consistency and knowing how to play hard every play. What role do the seniors, the veterans, the guys in the locker room and practice with them every day sort of have in establishing
Well,
that?
your seniors, I mean, you're going to be good. Your seniors set the standard. I mean, you're going to be as good as your seniors play. If your seniors play at an extremely high level, you're probably going to have a pretty good season. And so that's their critical role of they're setting the bar for the rest of the team.
And Leo Lewis on defense seems to be a young player. It seems to be getting it. He's always around the football, making tackles. What's been the key of his success early in his career?
Well, I think one, I think Leo's trying to learn how to not just play hard, give good effort, learn how to be a football player, and put himself in a position to make reads and make plays. And, I think one of the things, you look at his attitude, I think he loves the game, loves to play, works hard at the game, and I think, in the long term, it's going to make him a really good linebacker. In short term, I mean, you get to see flashes of him doing great things, and as he learns the defensive system more and more, as he learns what offenses are trying to do more and more, he'll make even more plays because, it's a lot easier to make a play when you know what the other team's already going to do, you know what you're going to do, and you know how I'm going to use what I'm going to use to win. And the more experience he has, the more you'll see him make plays.
After the game, you talked about Fitzgerald's toughness. When did you see that toughness? Was it in high school or when he got here to Mississippi State? Well, when did that come? You kind of see that?
I mean, we saw it in high school because you try to see it to make sure you got that before you even recruit anybody in the first place because the mental physical toughness is critical at the quarterback position. So, I mean, he's a guy that, played multiple positions, ended up moving to quarterback for his senior year, in high school, but, played receiver, did whatever the team needed him to do, and all of those are just different things you look for in aspects of mental and physically tough people.
You talked about, appreciating winning again for the young guys. Did you have to teach yourself again after the 19 wins in Orange Bowls that wins are still fun?
Yeah, I do because I love winning, and I'll guarantee there's nobody puts more pressure on themselves or loves winning or hates losing more than me. I'm sure there's probably, 75,000 people on Twitter right now disagreeing with that factor of Mississippi State fans everywhere. But I can guarantee you that that's not the case. I mean, what you want to do is to be able to enjoy it because, I mean, it's not easy. As I said, it's not easy to win football games. And when winning a game, when there's no enjoyment in winning at all, I don't know when you're going to put a smile on your face, in doing what you're doing for a career.
Because of that, when you look back at your previous 7 years, where does this season compare in terms of challenging?
Boy, I mean, it's hard to say because every season brings very different challenges to it. And I guess that's what kind of makes it fun to be a coach because, you're always presented with a very, very different challenge from one year to the next. Obviously, you face a lot of challenges this year and some different ones that we haven't faced before, really, since I've been here. Which, like I said, I mean, we're a team that, changed 3 plays. We're 6-2 right now. Well, that would, if I just changed 3 plays even on the season, it would present a whole different set of challenges to coach through, to be as a coach than that we've dealt with this year. So, it's just constantly changing. I don't know if it's good, bad, indifferent. It's just they're just different challenges.
Coach, Richie Brown's always seemed like a guy that's kind of wise beyond his years and things. He just always seemed like a really intelligent guy and things. Just talk about, of all the linebackers that you've got to coach here at Mississippi State and things, how's Richie like those guys different? Just what's he like to coach?
Well, he's different. I mean, like you said, he's very, very studious, intelligent in the classroom. He's already graduated, working on a master's degree. you look at him and what's important to him and a lot of things even beyond football very important to him and being married and just a very mature young man and obviously a guy that's going to have a great success in his life whether it's in football or in other facets.
You talked about all the missed tackles. It seemed like a lot of those are coming in the secondary. Guys seem like they're just diving at people's ankles and not really wrapping up. Is it as simple as that, or you're seeing more than that when you watch film?
Well, there's a lot of different things that are going on, that we got to get cleaned up. I mean, we miss tackles high, we miss tackles low, we miss tackles inside, we miss tackles outside. So, it's guys having confidence, running through the ball, keeping their head up, and just having good form tackling.
For young guys who have always been successful, whether it's in high school and even watching the Orange Bowl, the #1 team, how do you keep them optimistic through a losing season?
Well, I think they view things. I view things we view things very much in a reality sense, and I've always tried to do that with the teams. Of here's where we are, here's why we win, here's why we lose. Here's the plays that we did well, here's the plays that you did poorly. I'll be honest with you, with the exception of eating a better dinner at Victory Meal last night and everybody walking into the team meeting with a big smile on their face, we were exactly in the same position this Sunday as we were the Sunday before. The game's over. We have a new opponent, very good opponent that's got a lot of talent on their team. Second straight week we're playing a team that only has one loss late in the season. So better buckle it up and get ready to get back to work. And I think the young guys, when they realize that, they start to look at that. You don't have a lot of time to dwell on what's happened because if you do, we're going to put ourselves in a bad position to win this week's game.
A guy like Chris Rayford seems to be, making a living down there with the special teams, downing the balls inside the one. When did you first see that from him, and what does he kind of bring to special teams?
Well, I think, one of the things, you look at Chris as a young player still on the team, probably having to be forced into a lot more action in the secondary than you would think. You'd hope at this point of his career, just because of all the injuries and what's gone on for us. And I think he's doing a great job there. But that's, as I've always said, that's the opportunity. That's where guys really, you hope that you start to see a lot of their first impacts of making all these plays on special teams. And then as they get more experience, they make some and then more and more and more plays on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. So he's at a point where we really expect him to be a special team standout for us in his career. And, hopefully a contributor on defense. He's just having to kind of do both of being play a lot of snaps on defense as well, just because of our depth that we're at this situation we're in right now with injuries and whatnot.
How do you feel like Peter Sermon's handled his first few games as a defense coordinator?
I think he's, doing a decent job of trying to make the adjustments, making sure guys are in the right position. I think one of the hardest things that we're having to deal with is all the injuries that we've had to deal with, and a lack of kind of consistency for him. He's trying to get a grasp on all these guys, and it seems like every week we're stuck with a different starting lineup. Or hey, okay, we got this set, and we can do this stuff with this set of players, and then they're not there anymore. Okay, so what can these guys do? And you have to make a lot of adjustments into what our guys can actually do out there on the field with the guys we're having to play, what they're good at, and what make sure we can try to put them in a position to be successful.
You've kind of evolved, from position coach to coordinator to head coach. What was the biggest hurdle for you going from position coach then to a coordinator?
I think that one of the toughest challenges always, I think, when you go from a position coach to a coordinator is making sure you remain a position coach, because in college football, most of the time most coordinators are also coaching a position out there on the field. And, that was something early on. And I remember Urban, when I was with him and became a coordinator, I was also coaching the quarterbacks, is to make sure I continue to coach the quarterbacks, and I'm out on the field making sure I'm coaching the quarterbacks. I'm not worried on the field about the technique of the left guard. I can coach, we can worry about that as a coordinator in the film room and talk about it afterwards, but when, I don't ignore your position.